Okay, part two. Part two. I may not remember. So, part two. Thank you for bearing with me. I wanted to go ahead and get into the scriptures. Now, the King James Version. The reason I recommend, okay, this is the reason I recommend. As I said earlier, this is the closer translation to English. Since we cannot read Latin or Greek. So, now, just because it was translated by King James does not make it a faulty translation. The reason it says King James translation is because at the time, King James was King of England and Scotland at the time, and the surrounding areas. At the time that this was translated, it had nothing to do with the king himself. The king himself actually was enlightened by the words of this book. Now, this book is not a book, it's a collection of books, okay? So, when somebody asks or wants to say that, who wrote this book? You can't say that, you have to be specific. What book are you speaking of? Are you talking about, now let me show you something. Let me show you something. Okay. The book of Numbers. If you see right here, it says the fourth book of Moshe. Yeah, the fourth book of Moshe called Numbers. Okay? So, let me go somewhere. Then right here it says the first book of Samuel. These are a collection of books that were written by different prophets and different authors inspired by the Most High. Okay? So, the fact that it says King James translation means nothing. Now, let me give you the history of the scriptures. Off the top of my head, I know there were 3 or 4 translations prior to the King James translation or the King James copy. The first was had something to do with the Tencel. The Tencel Bible was one of the earlier ones. The you have to look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the William Tencel is one of them. Now, every translation that comes after the King James translation is a is suspect. Every the NIV is suspect. The American Standards Bible is suspect. All those Bibles that came, if it did not precede 1611, I'll stay with 1611. I'm gonna say 1563. But if it did not precede 1611, it's suspect. The reason I say that is because after the King James Version was translated into English, it became widely accepted. And it becoming widely accepted, there were certain people, Europeans, who have tried to manipulate the words of the scripture. Now, they've been successful in doing that. And I detail that in my book written "The Blind Can See, the Deaf Can Hear," about how Europeans set out to manipulate the scripture, and Yah foretold that it would happen. And not only did he foretell that it would happen, he blotted out the name and the nation that did it. When you look at when you look at Genesis, when you look at the table of nations concerning the peoples on the earth after Noah, we populated the earth with his seed. Not only with Noah's seed, because Noah had to come from somewhere. So Noah, I tie it to Seth. I tie it to back to Enoch. I tie it back to Seth, the righteous seed, which eventually comes from Adam. But in any event, after Noah, we populated the earth with his son. The seeds of Japheth, or the lineage of Japheth, was blotted out of the scriptures, mainly because Japheth perverted the word of Elohim. So, we're going to get into that topic. Jesus. Jesus Christ is a name that came from the children of Japheth. It did not come from the children of Ham. It did not come from the children of Shem. It came from the seed and the children of Japheth. Now, we all know it's a European based. Matter of fact, shoot. Matter of fact, let me find something real quick. See if I can find. Yeah. Oh, I have that. Okay, I'm looking for that. All right. Now, when we let me see. Let me see if I have. Okay. I'm gonna speed this video up a little quicker. When we see that right here, if you can read that, okay, I don't know if you can read that, but it says the Greek used both the word Messias, a transliteration, and Christos, a translation for the Hebrew word Mashiach. The word Christos was far more acceptable to the pagan who were worshiping Christon, and Christa. Now, it tells us that the word Christianas, which is what a lot of people call themselves Christian because they think they are following the name of the Savior. But Christian is a pagan name. Christ is the pagan name. So you accept it like when we worship, like when we celebrate Christmas, or when we celebrate Easter, or when we celebrate all these pagan holidays. It's pagan customs we have taken on that were given to us by our oppressors, by our slave masters, and our oppressors and our slave masters. Now let me continue reading. The name Christianos is Latinism, being contributed neither by the Hebrews nor by the early Christians themselves. The word was introduced from one of the three origins: the Roman police, the Roman populace, the population, or a unspecified pagan origin. Now, Jesus, I have, yeah, and this is I believe I found this while I was attending college when I first came into the faith. when I first came into the faith, I did a lot of research, a lot of digging, and I was not in the camp. See, let me give you a background of myself. When I first came into the faith, I was with a group of guys who learned from someone who was, I'm telling you, he was probably 20, 30 years in his walk. And he revealed his spirit of discernment was true. It was pure. So we was taught in the correct light, as Joshua taught the disciple in the correct light. And it was about maybe eight, nine brothers, give or take a few, because there was some that fell away prior to me being introduced to the brotherhood. And there was maybe about 3 or 4 sisters. And as I grew in the faith, I began to see that the scriptures were being fulfilled, because those who would hear the truth would not be satisfied with it. They would go and seek other teachers, even though they were being taught by the correct and appointed teacher. It's like, it's the same. It's crazy. I don't know why. But, we had brothers who received the truth, but didn't embrace it. And they would just start going into, the one West camp. They would start following Ben Ami, after Ben Ami called himself the Messiah. And, I didn't understand it. It was the same. But regardless, let me stay on track. And yeah, while I was doing my research, I found it. Now, there's no website. I think they took the website down. They took a lot of things down. I found a lot of stuff you can no longer find on the web. But anyway, you can see the name Jesus, and I don't know if you can read that. I'm gonna leave it up for a little bit. Hopefully you can read that, and it will tell you that that's not his true name. It is a made-up name by. It is a made-up name by the Latin, by those who spoke Latin among the Gentiles. It reads, the original name of our Savior was not Jesus or Iosu. I'm getting to Iosu's in a minute, but Yahshua. In our Savior's word, his father's name was given to him. The father's name is Yahuwah. Some say Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahuwah, as long as the word Yah is in it. Matter of fact, we're gonna get into the scriptures a little bit. I found something out. This is the thing. I have brothers that are outside of the brotherhood that always argue with me. I'm telling you, it feels like the whole world is arguing with me. They're trying to hold on to the name, this pagan name, and say that it is a translation of his name from his Hebrew name. Now, there was one time I was sitting in the car with a brother from the brotherhood that fell away, and he's still falling away to this very day. And I asked him, I asked him, because he was on his phone and he was trying to find the translation of Jesus. I said, find me the Hebrew root word of Iosus. If his name is Jesus, and Jesus in English came from Iosu in Latin, then it has to have a Hebrew root word. So he put it in. Guess what? Nothing popped up. Nothing popped up. Then he tried to backtrack it and put in Jesus, and it came up with the Hebrew equivalent of that name. Now, I had remembered that night. I found something that night, but later on, I was so busy. I was writing my book at the time, and I was trying to stay on track. But let me hold on a second. Bad time. Okay. Okay, let me find the app. Okay, now I'm using this app right here. It's a Hebrew alphabet app. I'm learning the Hebrew alphabet. I cannot fluently read Hebrew. I'm still studying it. However, I can break down the letters. Okay? Now, by the way, it's actually foretold that the Hebrew that we're learning is not the actual Hebrew that our forefathers spoke during their time. The Hebrew that we're learning today is a corrupted version of Hebrew mixed with German dialect. It's Yiddish. So a lot of people don't understand the difference between Yiddish and Hebrew. I suggest you find out. There is a difference, even though they look very similar. So, but nonetheless, we're gonna go into. Matter of fact, let me grab this right here. Follow me right here. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to. Let me hold this right here. Okay, I'm going to now. Jesus. I was left-handed. Okay. Now, I'm going to put that name. We're going to translate it into Hebrew. Alright. So we're going to take this name. We're going to translate it. Now, this is his English name. Okay? No, I'm sorry. This is his Hebrew name. This is his English name. So, we're going to cross this out. We're going to put his Greek name. Okay? Now, according to, we go to this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but go to Google Translate. Alright. Now you can go to Google Translate and the translation. Make sure that you're able to put English where you put the English name with the text, and the Hebrew name of the text will appear right here. Okay. Now you can do this on your own, and you can put what a lot of people say. Alright, now the English version of Jesus is, this is the Hebrew root word. right? Now, the Latin version of the English word this is the Hebrew word. That's drastically different. You gotta find out why it's different, okay? Now, we're gonna go back. We're gonna actually write out that root word. I'm gonna find out the actual word or the actual letter for each word. Now, Yosef, I'll keep this. Jesus. Because either way, these two words are supposed to be translations, but they have different Hebrew root words. You're about to find out why. Okay, now, for this, if I'm not mistaken, this is a lot or a dial. Okay, we're gonna write that out. We're gonna put this right here, and I think that's that's my first one. That's a sure. Okay, we're gonna put a sure down. Okay. Then we're going to follow that up with this. All right. Okay. That is the Hebrew equivalent of Jesus. Okay? Now, we're going to translate this into the Tetragrammaton. The Tetragrammaton is the English version of his name. Now, on the review part, it shows you the alphabet. Okay? Now, we're going to, from right to left, we're going to write it out. From right to left. As the scriptures was originally written. Let me find it. Okay. Okay. The first letter is Yod, which is Y and O. Okay? It could be Y and A. Some Israelites used A for every first letter that they follow. So it could either be Y-O or Y-A. In any event, this is a Y. Okay? Alright, now, this, I already know what that is, but you guys got to see it for yourself. That is the chin, which is the S. Okay? So that's going to be a sure. Right? Now, you have the S-H-Y-O. Okay. This is going to be an N. Okay? Which is, well, let me find, I think there's two of them. Yeah, that actually is a 5. Okay, so that's going to be a V. Now, that's going to be A. Now, the last one that looks first is actually an A, which is an A. Okay, now you have Y, S, H, V, A, Y. Okay, now this is why. This is why a lot of Israelites think Jesus is translated into Yahshua. Because the letters are there. You have Y, you have H, you have B, and you have A. V can be substituted for the W. Okay? Now, when you look at the translation of his English name, the Y could be the J, which is a given. Okay? The S could be those SUS or SU or whatever. Okay? However, there is no A in it. There is no V in it. So, somebody did something. Okay, let me separate it. The words in the box are the words that do not translate to the actual language. Okay, the English language. Okay, now, as you can see, I box it out. The Y right here can be right here. The SH right here can account for these. Okay? However, you have two words that would put in there, that were included in there. What are those words? Now, let's do Joshua. Joshua in English, let me show you guys something. Instead of telling you, it's better, I can show you better than I can tell you. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so that's one. See if I can find the other one. Choose this one. I think it's 2 Peter. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna make a follow-up video on this. I'm gonna surprise you guys. It's actually in scripture. It's hidden in the Bible. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Okay. Bear with me. What I'm looking for is in the scripture, the name Jesus is given a reference, and that reference is his actual name, where the translators put his actual name down as a reference, and his actual name in English is Joshua. So I'm gonna have to find it later. I had to highlight it. It's a very small, very small. But anyway, let me let you read it for yourself. Okay, this right here. It tells you right here, Joshua. This is the book of Joshua. And The title of the book is appropriately named after its central figure, Joshua. His original name is Hosea, salvation, right? Hosea, salvation. But Moshe dentally changes it to Yehoshua. Yahuwah is salvation. He is also called Yeshua, a short form of Yehoshua. This is the Hebrew equivalent. Okay? Now, what they try to tell you is that Joshua, which is the English name of Joshua. Okay, yeah, Joshua, which is the English name of Joshua. Okay, there are two different. Joshua, the son of Nun, and Joshua, the son of they say the son of David, the son of Elohim, the son of God. The son of Nun, his proper pronunciation of his name is not Joshua or Yahshua. The proper pronunciation of his name is Yehoshua. Yehoshua. The proper pronunciation of the name Joshua that was given to the Messiah at birth, when he came back through the womb of his mother of Mary, is Yahshua, not Yehoshua. Okay, so when I say Yehoshua, I'm talking about the son of Nun. When somebody talk about the son of Nun, when you say Joshua, Yah is salvation. That is the son of Elohim, because the angels told Mary that his name shall be called Joshua, for he shall come to save his people. His name shall be salvation. So we're gonna get back to breaking down that word, that pagan word. Okay, now you have, where's my pen? Okay. Now you have Joshua. Now let me put that in. Okay, when you write Joshua in English, that's the Hebrew text verses of Joshua.